Hello everybody and welcome back to OMB Reviews. I am the critic who is a cynic. Hope you're doing well, and today we're doing a box office preview for this upcoming weekend, which actually will be seeing the theatrical debut of the very popular film on Netflix, K-Pop Demon Hunters, this being a sing-along event so that people who are fans of the film on Netflix can go to the theater and sing along to the songs. This has been a pretty big phenomenon on social media, and so it'll be interesting to see whether a lot of the people going to see this film this weekend are actually fans of the movie who are there to actually sing along, or if it's going to be people that don't have Netflix or have been maybe waiting for this film to be theatrically available to go see the film on the big screen. I think that this is a very, very good decision from Netflix. Kind of surprising that it's taken them this long to put this film out there this way, because as we all know, Netflix's model has been so successful for so many years that people have begun to scratch their heads as far as why they wouldn't at the same time go ahead and put these movies out in theaters, because that is just asking for more money, right? You obviously already have your dedicated base, you already have your dedicated and guaranteed money from subscriptions, and this model that you have, obviously been able to master over the years has been very, very successful. You're one of the very few streamers, if not maybe even the only one that's as successful as you are, with so many others, being in the red and really never being fully profitable. And even when they are, they're really not like the biggest moneymakers in the world, right? And so you would think putting this out in theaters is a no-brainer, because that's just extra money, right? It's good for theaters because obviously a lot of times you have properties that can bring a lot of eyeballs, can bring a lot of people to the theater, and you also are getting, again, just raw net profits in many of these cases. Obviously, you're splitting these revenues with your theaters, but as we all know from the more traditional model, where in those first weekends you tend to get a much higher percentage of your box office back in those first two weekends, typically with the deals that you make with other studios, you would assume that you would have a similar deal going on also with a film like Netflix, where, again, you can just bring a lot of people. So much so that K-Pop Demon Hunters is right now projected to win the weekend, again, pretty easily, and actually could still end up putting up a fight against the third weekend of another movie that's still doing very, very well and acting very impressively. And that, of course, is the film Weapons, which continues to hold very well for the kind of movie that it is a horror thriller movie, this rated R thriller movie, to still be holding on into these top two spots and to still be making tens of millions of dollars in a weekend is just darn impressive. There's also a bunch of new releases. That's the interesting thing, is that if you look at the movie release schedule, right, this isn't even something that is being talked about even over on thenumbers.com. In fact, I don't even see the Demon Hunters event. I think this must be somewhat new, because I think that people were kind of even talking up to even maybe last week, the week before, about how, why didn't you release this thing theatrically? Well, hey, they put together an event, and hey, we'll see how it turns out for them. It looks like, based on the numbers, it's going to be a pretty impressive event. But we also have films like Eden. That's right, a film called Eden. This is actually a new Ron Howard movie, so this is going to be interesting because it's a wide release, but no one's ever really heard of it before. Last I saw was it originally released in 2024, so it's finally gotten a distribution deal from Vertical Entertainment. You also have a new Coen brother, I think it's just the singular Coen brother movie, Honey Don't, coming out this weekend, which doesn't look all that great, but hey, kudos to you. And also, finally, the phenomenon, or at least the perceived phenomenon from China, Nija, I think that's how you pronounce it. I might be wrong there. Nija 2 is finally getting a wide release here by A24 of all studios. They got the distribution rights to this movie. Now, they say this movie made $2 billion or close to $2 billion in China specifically. Again, I have my doubts about that when it comes to trusting numbers. As you all know, I rarely trust the Hollywood numbers. Obviously, we run with whatever's being reported, but I especially don't trust numbers coming out from communist China. And so we'll go ahead and see exactly how well this film does in the West. It gets a wide release, and as of right now, it's not showing up on any of the charts, being even in the top 10. So we'll see if that happens. Again, I think that if this movie is as good as the numbers would seem to indicate, and as popular as the numbers would seem to indicate, and again, people could say, oh, it's a cultural thing, and yada, yada, yada. But again, this film has been getting a lot of attention, and so you would think, especially coming from A24, and there's a lot of hardcore A24 fans out there, that this movie should get the A24 treatment, or at the very least should get a much better number than what is right now being reported, which basically is almost nothing because it's not even being in most of the charts that I'm looking at here. You also have a new film called Relay from Bleecker Street. None of these films are really going to do much of anything, though. The only one that right now I've seen crack a lot of these charts is the Honey Don't movie from Focus Features, but it's also not expected to make all that much money. The only one that we actually have a budget on is Eden, which cost around $35 million. It's interesting because apparently it cost about $55 million. They must have gotten a tax credit because the net spend, at least according to some reports, is that it was around $35 million. It's not looking like that's going to make its money back theatrically, so maybe they'll be able to make a deal on streaming. It's a Ron Howard movie to make some money back, but theatrically it's just not going to be much of anything. It's going to be a bit of a box office dud. So let's go ahead and dive into some of the numbers here. And again, the big story this weekend is K-Pop Demon Hunters finally getting a theatrical release, a sing-along event, so be warned, you might have people in your theater singing along, and it's going to, of course, be invited. It'll be interesting to see, because if this film does as well as being projected, maybe Netflix will actually get some normal releases without having the sing-along factor to some of their other big films going into the future. So right now, there's no traditional tracking, again, probably because this was relatively last minute. So according to Box Office Theory, he thinks the film is going to make between $16 and $22 million in its theatrical debut. The only other film this weekend that has any real tracking, at least for Box Office Theory's take, is Honey Don't, again from one of the Coen brothers here. $2 to $4 million, around $3 million is the traditional tracking. So he's right along basically with traditional tracking. So not really a whole lot expected from that new movie. But as you can see, number one film right now from Netflix, K-Pop Demon Hunters Sing Along, $20 million being projected. It's going to be available around 1,700 screens. So more of a limited release, right? But that's still pretty impressive, right? If you have $20 million, sorry, it's been a long week teaching, $20 million being made, right, in a limited number of screens. That just, again, if that does happen, and again, these are just pure projections, again, no traditional tracking on this, it'll be very interesting to see exactly what those real numbers are. But hey, this is a very popular movie. People have actually been asking for it to be released. People, you can see on social media, especially on like TikTok and Instagram and all these other places, right? People singing along to it, seeing different versions of it. So again, seemingly a very popular property right now, getting a lot of positive praise and reviews. Not really my cup of tea. I tried watching it and just couldn't really get into it. My wife really liked it though, so again, take that for what it's worth. So you could definitely see a strong female demographic, especially showing up for this movie, could end up being very big, because again, that's just raw net gains for Netflix. They already have stuff baked into their streaming service, so anything they make theatrically is just a win for them. So maybe they'll start doing this in the future. Personally, I think it would be really nice to see that, and theaters would probably really enjoy it too. So hopefully this deal works out between them and the theaters that they're available in, and they're able to make some more deals in the future, because as you all know, I love movie theaters, and I think that movie theaters need to survive. And if anyone's going to save it, Netflix could absolutely be the studio to step in and do that, because of the model that they have, because of the guaranteed or baked in success of the model that they have. This could definitely be something that helps them going forward. Warner Brothers continuing to be impressive with their film Weapons, right? $17 million is projected right now by Box Office Theory, a 31% hold, again, for a rated R horror film to be now in its third week of release, still dropping this way. I mean, this is a film performing incredibly well. Again, maybe not as well as a film like Sinners did. Sinners obviously had kind of an insane run at the box office, but still $116.6 million domestically for this movie. No one was really expecting this film to do as well as it is. And yeah, just from my own commentary on this film, I thought, again, the ending gets a little bit too bizarre for me. I think it was trying to be too smart for its own good. I think some people are maybe trying to prop this up more than they probably should. But a lot of the kids that have seen this movie, right, as a teacher, I hear a lot of them talk about things that they've seen, and a lot of the ones that have seen it have basically said the same thing, which is like, yeah, that was weird. That ending was a little weird, too bizarre for me. But it's clearly resonating with a lot of people, and it's at least intriguing enough people to continue to go out and see it. Freaker Friday also holding still pretty well, so it's looking like Freaker Friday is probably going to end up being a box office win for Disney. Again, it's not going to make huge dollars. It's not going to match the success of the first movie, but the fact that they're going to have something that's not going to be a financial loss is always a good sign for Disney. It's always a good, not sign rather, but a good, it's a good case for Disney, right? It's definitely something that people at Disney are going to be happy about, saying, hey, at least we have something to look forward to in our next earnings call of, hey, Freaker Friday at least made some money. Unlike the other film, Fantastic Four, which though it's dropping 37% because the film costs so much to make and it costs even more, again, just can't wait for those receipts to finally come out from the United Kingdom, because Lord knows this thing costs at least $300 million to produce, let alone the marketing budget and everything like that. yeah, this film's still a massive loss, even if you assume their numbers are accurate, because it's not doing much of anything internationally. The Bad Guys 2 still also, again, holding decently, but still not matching the success of the first film. It's kind of a trend we see today. Nobody 2 dropping 55% in its second weekend of release. I would expect that, because the film, I don't think, is as good as the first movie, and the ending, especially to me, kind of goes off a bit too much in almost a modern Hollywood sense, and I think that might be keeping some people away from the theaters, but also because it's not really doing much, I think, to expand the franchise and the property. So it'll be interesting to see whether this film makes any money back theatrically. Probably not, but at the very least, we could see this film, because it didn't have the biggest of budgets, be able to maybe make some money down the line through streaming deals. Superman dropping 33%. Again, the numbers would indicate that the film is doing really well. We know this also is on VOD. And I will say, because for some reason people in the comments section don't get to this point of the video, that for dropping 30-ish% last week when it went on VOD, and now dropping another 30% projected this week, this would show, right, that clearly the fan base for this movie is continuing to show up. There's some hardcore fans of this movie. The problem, they're just not as many as there were previously for the DCEU, right? Even if you look at raw ticket sales, even if you were to either take ticket sale estimates, or again, adjust for inflation, that triggers some people, but even doing the ticket sale comparison, right? Comparing what value of a ticket was back then, how many people likely want to go see that movie, it's just not even close, right? As far as the amount of audience that they just do not have at this point in time. And so again, is this a film that's going to be individually successful? Hard to say, because of the fact that we really don't know what the true budget for this movie was, or the marketing budget, and things like that. But at the very least, I again have always said I do think VOD sales probably going to push this film over the edge. Blu-ray 4K sales, because you have that hardcore fan base. Hardcore fan bases are important. They make up a large portion of your total profits, right? It's the most hardcore Star Wars fans that made Star Wars as successful as it was, right? Because they would buy the toys, they would continue to buy and rebuy, etc. That's kind of what's going to happen with Superman, is that they're going to have that like 10-15% hardcore audience that's going to buy the VOD, that's going to buy even after the 4K Blu-ray, because they want this film to be a success, right? They have this imagined thing in their mind that this film is bigger than what it actually is. And again, it's doing fine relatively, but it's also not the big success that they have tried to make it out to be. People, for some reason, get triggered whenever I say that. But again, numbers are what they are. The Naked Gun still dropping 31%. Again, decent hold there. Honey Don't for Focus Features. This is the new Coen brother, Ethan Coen brother film. Projected to make only $3 million, so really not that impressive. And Jurassic World Rebirth still dropping now in the 29% range, so still holding well. So looks like Superman's going to win that domestic battle, but we all know Rebirth eats its lunch when it comes to the worldwide box office. Going to Box Office Pro, let's go ahead and see what they have right now. They think Weapons is going to get the number one spot with $12 to $15 million. Freaker Friday is $7 to $9 million. Fantastic Four, $4 to $6. So they usually get their numbers out a little bit earlier, and so my guess is that they may have not have heard the news about the Demon the K-Pop Demon Hunters getting released, because they don't even have that figured here. That's how kind of maybe last minute that deal ended up being. Obviously, because Box Office Theory sometimes waits on things, and then Box Office Report especially waits until Thursday night, Friday morning to get theirs released. They're also right now saying K-Pop Demon Hunters getting around $22 million, within Weapons getting 15.7, Freaker Friday getting that number 3 spot there with a 40% drop. So again, similar numbers there, similar story, similar commentary in that way. There's also, though, other movies coming out this weekend. As I mentioned, there's a film from Ron Howard called Eden coming out this weekend with Jude Law, Ana de Armas, Vanessa Kirby, Daniel Bruhl, and even Sydney Sweeney as well. So another Sydney Sweeney film going out in the box office, but no one's heard about it. No one's looking like it's going to be seeing it. So again, just know that it's out there. The film Honey Don't, of course, we've heard all about. Ken seems like a modern Hollywood movie in many respects, just looking at the poster. Ninja 2 is coming out. Again, no one talking about that, so it's not looking like this is going to make much of a splash. It's made $17 million domestic. I think this is referring to how it got an initial release here from the Chinese distribution company, or whatever company they were working with. I think that was when it was still just English subtitled movie. So it'll be interesting to see whether the English dubbed version that is now available is going to make any splashes or make any surprises. But again, no one really right now is projecting that. There's a new film called Relay with Riz Ahmed, Lily James, and Sam Worthington. Also out this weekend, apparently another film from 2024 getting a theatrical release. And then there's also Primitive War, which, again, the biggest name is Jeremy Piven. It's an Australian film, but really limited release, so who knows exactly where that film is going to end up. Again, according to the charts, really none of these movies are films that I can really track, and K-pop's already a success because of the whole fact that it's a Netflix movie, so this is just, again, raw numbers for them. I guess I could theoretically do some breakdowns for Honey Don't, because as soon as I get a budget, we don't have any budgets yet according to the numbers that are currently available, probably won't end up being the biggest moneymaker in the world for them. Ninja 2, again, it's hard to track that because of the fact that China is reporting $2 billion, which again, just, I'm sorry, like it's hard for me to accept that as reality. And then none of the other films really have much of a presence to do anything. Ron Howard's Eden, maybe because at least we have a budget, but as you can see, not really expected to do that much of anything. But those are the numbers as they currently stand. So what are y'all's thoughts? Do you think that Ninja 2 is going to end up surprising people, doing better than expected, now getting the A24 treatment, getting the English dubbed version out there theatrically? So is that going to make a splash? Is that going to have much of a presence? And then also thoughts on K-Pop Demon Hunters getting a theatrical release, right? Some people who don't have Netflix or tried to boycott Netflix, guess what? You actually have a chance now to watch it. But again, I just want to put the warning out there. It's limited release, 1,700 screens is what the estimate is. And also keep in mind, you might have people in your theater singing along, and it's that version. So you're going to have the words on the screen, maybe even little bouncing head or whatever situation, right? Tends to be how sing-along events tend to work. So just be warned about that going forward. So anyway, those are the numbers as they stand. What are y'all's thoughts? Let me know in the comment section down below, and we'll have our full breakdown on Sunday and see exactly what is what. If you like this video, smash that like button. Make sure you smash the rumble button as well. You guys are all amazing and beautiful people. Have a wonderful rest of your day. A blessed Friday today, the feast of the Immaculate Heart of the Blessed Virgin Mary. So may God's grace be upon you. And as always, God bless. And now for a huge special shout out to all of my Chosen of Valhalla members, starting off first with my people on Patreon, Father Luca Illich and Miss Martin Muses. Check out her YouTube channel by the same name, Miss Martin Muses. Also to my Subscribestar people, Matt317. Check out his Twitch channel by the same name, Matt317. And lastly to my YouTube member, Mr. Roy. Shout out to you, good sir. And if you want your name shouted out at the end of every live stream and video, check out the top link in the video description below where you get access to that. Also, you get access to a plethora of other things. You get your name listed at the end of every live stream and video, like you saw in those names that came up before this video started. And also access to a giveaways channel that I host over on the Discord server where I give away 4Ks, Steelbooks, Blu-rays, all kinds of stuff. So check that out if you're interested in that. Also, I have an exclusive podcast that I hold at least once a month, and it's always a good time, and you get extra bonus content with that also. So if any of that sounds interesting, again, check out that top link in the video description below. You guys are all amazing and beautiful people. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and as always, God bless.